So it was requested that I put together a full auto team that can do triple S plus for this because not everybody's chasing Dagger Sakar scores. So in this video I have 3 different teams, the last one of which I think is the best. So again, just a review of the basics. You can't use mages, dark heroes get their butts handed to them in damage, green heroes will push the highest attack unit when they attack, and warriors get a bonus to their damage and tankiness. So this is my first team. It went really good, and it's basically just ignoring the mechanics of the fight. We're going to just use dual attack spams to rack up the score. So Sinful Angelica, I put her on Prophetic Candlestick, but you can put Celestine on her to give you additional heals and make it a little more survivable. Give her imprint, run her fast. She doesn't have to be that fast, but give her a little bit of speed. Camilla, I have her on a Rage Pen set because she's part of my Katie's team, but she does not need to be. You'll do plenty of damage without damage on your Camilla. It's just an added bonus. Running her faster might actually be a better idea. Daydream Joker does nothing in this fight, so give her an artifact that actually matters. I'm running Lilka. This is just my level 50 Lilka that I use on water expeditions. I gave her the Song of Stars artifact so that she can do target debuff to help me with damage. And lastly is my Sirmia. Now if I gave Sirmia attack main boots, she would do more damage, but instead I gave her speed main boots. Switch her onto the Cruel Mischief artifact here. That's going to be the best one for damage, and of course you want her on her S1 EE for the chance for double strikes, though even if you don't double strike you should clear triple S plus with this team. So you want to make sure that you have Camilla's skills turned off. She will get plenty of attack buffs from Sinful Angelica, so she doesn't need to do anything but S1. Angelica will pop off her S3 skill, which should cleanse any stuns on anybody. Sirmia rips her S3, which shouldn't kill, but it should do a good percentage of the bar, making it so that when Camilla takes her turn, that'll push phase. And there we go.
Anybody there? On my way. I'll focus on one at a time.
Lilka will do her S2, which, knock on wood, will put the target debuff on the enemy and give us the maximum amount of points possible. Sirmia kind of wastes her S3. It doesn't do as much damage as her S1 inside of the break phase, but still, with all of the dual attacks, will pop off a decent amount of damage. So 2.1 million, we did get a dual attack in, or not dual attack, but an extra swipe in there. You don't need that extra swipe to complete.
I will lend you the power to take another's life. For Lady Fate.
Lilka applies another target. We did not get a defense break from Camilla, or we might have pushed phase.
Over here. On my way. Target confirmed.
Now, as you can see, not perfectly stable. Everybody's health is pretty low, and we're not running any form of healing on the team, but it did get us into the second break phase, and that's really all you need. Sinful Angelica gets her S3 up again. Idol's Cheer cycled her through nicely. And now we've got a long series of dual attacks.
I look silly, don't I? Anybody there?
Lilka's S3 extends the greater attack buff on Sirmia.
Are you scared?
We finally get the target debuff up so we can actually do decent damage. And there's triple S plus. This team's unlikely to clear, but it usually gets you triple S plus by the end of phase 2. And especially with the top mob there stealing greater attack buff from Sirmia, we're definitely going to die on this next hit.
Disappear.
I think if the RNG was right, we could possibly have cleared with this and gotten a score a little over 6 million.
Obey.
So that's team number 1. It's not the most stable team in the world, but I didn't have to change my gear at all with the exception of putting Cruel Mischief on Sirmia. And if I change my gear, if I put Sirmia on attack main boots instead of speed main boots, my score could have been even higher. Now team number 2 is just Sirmia and Conqueror Lilius. Since Conqueror Lilius is a light unit, she's going to take a ton of damage, so I put her on Sigurd's Scythe to help heal her. You could also try to run her on Nostalgic Music Box and hope for those shields and continuous healing buffs. And it's the same Sirmia we ran last time. Again, if I put attack main boots on Sirmia, would have been an even more stable score. I got Conqueror Lilius' skills turned off because even though her S3 is Vigor and her S2 is Shield to help protect her, I didn't want that happening inside of the break phase. I just want as many dual attacks as possible. So here we are inside the break phase, and the goal is to try to get those double hits off of Sirmia's S1. She activates her greater attack buff, and each hit's hitting for about 300k damage.
The time has come.
And there's that double hit that we're looking for.
This is it.
25% chance for that double hit, so you would expect to see it at least once out of every 4 attacks, so you should see it once or twice. We only got it once in that phase and exited with 2.1 million. Now, it's going to be a little tough, especially with Lilius being stunned right out of the gate. We've got no form of healing, so it takes a little bit of luck and holding your mouth just right to push this into phase 2. You might have to run it a couple of times, but you'll get there. And again, you don't have to change any gear except for the artifact on Sirmia.
Target confirmed. The time has come.
As long as Sirmia survives here, oh, she stole the greater attack buff from Sirmia, so that's kind of weak. So we're doing this without a greater attack buff, unfortunately. We would do a lot more damage with it.
This is it.
There's 3 million.
Focus.
3.4. Now we get the greater attack buff. We'll use the lighter S3.
The time has
The reason the S1 hits harder is S1 is just true damage. The S3, the damage is higher normally because there's defense penetration built into it, but since since Meru has 0 defense, the defense penetration does nothing, and that's why the S3 hits harder outside of the break phase, but not as hard inside of the break phase. Regardless, we crossed 4.6 million, would have been a lot higher if we didn't lose the greater attack buff, and if I had attack main boots on her as well, would have been higher yet again. I ran this team a second time and got 6 million out of it, so I know it can score higher. So that's the fastest team to get to SSS+, but it does require a little bit of luck and some decent gear. Now, this team is by far the most stable way to get SSS+ on auto. First, we'll use a healer, and by a healer I mean Landy on Bloodstone. Landy on Bloodstone does tremendous healing, and her skills constantly CR push, and she hits really freaking hard. We're going to use Mercenary Helga. She also CR pushes with her S2, and she does a lot of damage, and she packs a defense break. We'll bring Lilka along again because I like the Song of Stars damage bonus that she brought along, but you don't have to use Lilka. You could use another warrior like Euphine or Lilibet. And we're going to use the same Sirmia yet again on the same artifacts and EEs, and once again, if I changed her to attack main boots, probably a little bit more damage. But I liked her on the speed boots from this one because we're not using dual attacks. We're actually cycling her to take turns.
I'm not so sure about this, but can you hold out much longer?
Sirmia does her S3, gets us really close to pushing phase. Helga pushes and attack buffs. Sorry, she doesn't push. She effectiveness and attack buffs. Her next attack is the push. Okay, so we're into the break phase. Lilka sticks target debuff, and Sirmia gets her gab ready, and now we're doing some pretty significant damage. What's nice about this team is the stability of Landy's healing. If you don't have Landy, you could probably run a damage command model Leica as your healer. She would also bring target and a set of dual attacks. You might get away with Green Bologna, but she's not going to heal nearly as much because damage from HP scaling is turned off. I did put Landy up front because she's frighteningly the tankiest unit here. And I kind of made a little goof. Lilka's attack buff is on the back and top slots, so she could be giving her attack buff to, or attack imprint to Landy or to Mercenary Helga if I had swapped her out of the back position. So we got the target debuff up early, and Sirmia's with her greater attack buff, and that pushes phase.
Help, please.
Nice. Get moving. On my way. I'll beat you to a pulp.
I'm not so sure about this.
You'll notice that nobody is at a loss for health, especially inside of the break phase. Every time Landy hits somebody, they fully heal. And such a good healer she is, in fact, that this team usually pushes all the way to the end. I think I only had once or twice where it didn't push to the end, and it was just really bad luck with Mercedes sticking defense brakes on everybody. So there's SSS Plus at 4.5 million.
Enough. I'll blow you away.
Obey.
Sirmia running it down with her S3. There's the defense brakes I was talking about.
Let me show you
And
my
that's
secret
that.
weapon. Respect the great
So I like this team the most because it's overkill. The additional 1,000,000 points at the end makes it a very, very safe completion for your SSS Plus. I needed 4.5 million for the SSS Plus. We got 5.7 million on full auto. So hopefully one of these three teams helps you get your Hall of Trials banged out for this week without significant regearing and without having to press buttons. Just hit auto and walk away. So good luck with your hunt buffs, and have a great rest of your weekend, everybody.